Okay, so I don't see any. So thank you so much for answering the group's questions. We're now going to turn it over to Scott and Rebecca to share reflections from the Indiana Department of Education.
Thank you. The Indiana Department of Education is dedicated to fostering both student and adult learner interest in teaching and doing what we can to remove any unnecessary barriers to those seeking to enter the teaching profession. And as we know, many see teaching as their calling, so to speak, and we certainly as a department and as a state do not want to place unnecessary barriers which would extinguish their passion for serving our P12 or even our P16 students. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to provide a few thoughts or reflections concerning this study. Before starting, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank those from REL and also from the Indiana Commission for Higher Education for the opportunity to participate in a few meetings during which we were able to provide additional input before this report was finalized, and some of that input was with regard to teacher preparation and teacher shortages, as well as an opportunity to analyze some of our existing data from both the state and federal level, including Title II. Well, looking at the information on the slide, the information is indeed disappointing, but it does reflect the urgency of the situation, and it confirms our impression of the teacher preparation pipeline at the pre and post institutional level. And as often studies like this often answer questions, they also create new questions, but those new questions can help drive our work in the next few months and few years. And so as we work and develop our upcoming plans as a department in collaboration with others, a few key questions that I would like to identify that have sprung from the slide, so to speak, include the following. What are the key factors causing or driving students to change degree majors or pathways between college admission and completion? What can both policymakers and educator prep providers do in partnership to help stem this drop? And while providers have a key role in teacher recruitment, as we all know, it should be a shared work and effort, and we want to provide support for them in increasing the pipeline. Are there existing licensure pathways that could be revised or perhaps streamlined to ensure more candidates are able to get licensed and embark upon a career in teaching? What support mechanisms can we develop, fund, or implement for teachers during their first and second year of teaching? And what is the role of the educator preparation provider in supporting completers during their first and second year of teaching? And finally, how can policymakers help ensure programs have the capacity to provide support that can enhance locally developed mentoring and intervention strategies for teachers who are struggling, in particular during their first and second year of teaching? And therefore, why are some leaving the profession? Are we seeking feedback from those who do leave the profession? And are we seeking their feedback to address the reasons why they have left the profession? So overall, we want to turn what looks like a negative and is in many respects a negative into opportunities for change and for hope. I believe Rebecca will now talk about some of our current strategies.
Excellent. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah, as a department, we've been collaborating with other state agencies and entities with a vested interest in Indiana's workforce, especially related to the recruitment and retention of educators. We know that connecting our P12 schools with ed prep programs early on in a student's pathway is one essential strategy to developing and diversifying the future ed pipeline. We currently have a pilot 1-2-1 Grow Your Own partnership with 2 districts that you'll hear more about later, and have worked to connect many others as they develop methods for early identification of future educators and pathways into the field of education that include high school transfer of credits, ongoing connection and mentorship, and paid teacher residencies. The Governor's Next Level Teacher Compensation Commission also generated a report with recommendations for how to achieve competitive teacher compensation in Indiana, and there were action items already in the latest session to address minimum pay and provide support for schools on increasing fiscal efficiency. So we know that there are data points that give us a lot of great information and can help drive next steps, but we're also looking for the pieces of data that are needed to fill in some of the gaps that tell the whole story of Indiana teacher pipeline. That's indicative of the chat questions that are coming through right now. For instance, our collaboration with the Department of Workforce Development has us looking for ways to engage professionals in transition programs and in ways that schools can capitalize on their industry experience as another means to address shortage areas, but also to identify trends in workforce as a whole, because professionals in various industries are facing similar concerns with workforce. In addition, Scott's team specifically works with Indiana's Ed Prep programs as they work to create recruitment plans focused on increasing the diversity of our ed pipeline. Scott, would you like to jump in and share a little more on that?
Yes, please. Yes, thank you. The Indiana Department of Education requires all ed prep programs or providers to seek and attain national accreditation via the Council for the Accreditation of Educator Preparation, or CAPE as we often refer to it as. And providers must demonstrate that they have aligned their program to a variety of standards for both initial and advanced level programs. But in particular, one is focused, and that is standard 3, is focused on developing a plan or for recruiting diverse candidates who meet local and state employment needs. And just to quickly recap what that says, it says that the provider presents plans and goals to recruit and support completion of high quality candidates from a broad range of backgrounds and diverse populations to accomplish their mission. The admitted pool of candidates reflects the diversity of America's P-12 students, and that providers demonstrate efforts to know and address community, state, national, regional, or local needs for hard-to-staff schools and shortage fields, particularly as it is now in STEM, English language learning, and students with disabilities. And that is all incorporated within Standard 3.1 of CAPE. But as we know, just because something is written in a plan, it doesn't mean that it's always as effective as it can be or should be. So as a department, we want to ensure that not only our providers are developing plans that are specific to educator preparation providers and schools, but that they have the support and resources they need to develop an effective recruitment plan. So this year we will be reviewing some of our existing plans across the state, as well as plans that have been successful in increasing the number of students, and importantly, the number who remain in the program and complete the program. And we hope to showcase a few exemplary plans, which are also data proven to be effective, and share with others in the state, with their permission, of course, showing how they have had an effective and data-driven effective plan for teacher recruitment, in particular for diverse candidates.
Good, thanks, Scott. In addition to the work being done with our Ed Prep programs, as a state, we've also supported schools in the creation of career ladders initiatives to focus on opportunities for educators to maintain teaching roles while also increasing their leadership influence, which is a great way to retain high quality teachers in the classroom. As I mentioned earlier, state agencies are collaborating to support all Indiana teachers and students. I would be remiss if I didn't mention our friends of the Commission for Higher Education and their commitment to these efforts as well, through several efforts, including the implementation of the Next Generation Educator Grant and teacher residency grants that were recently supported. These are just a few of the strategies in place to support the recruitment, retention, and increased diversity of educators in Indiana. We'll continue to use the data to drive the work that we do and look forward to feedback and ideas for solutions, as we hopefully are all working towards the same goal of providing the best opportunities for Indiana's kids. Both Scott and I's contact information is listed on the next slide, and we would encourage you to reach out with questions or if you just have great ideas.